Hi guys, welcome back to Barker-Stargazer's YouTube channel where we normally focus on crochet, and today we're going to be focusing on crochet again. Now, I have done a few videos where I've reviewed patterns attached to AI images, but I thought what I'd do this week is I'd actually find some genuine free patterns online. I'll test them and then I will share with you the best ones that I've found, and I've decided to focus on flowers because on the 30th of March it's going to be Mother's Day here in the UK. I think it's the same in a couple of other countries around the world as well. I know US you do it later, so you've got more time to make these flowers for your mums. Hi, just jumping back in here. I jumped onto Interflora's website just to check Mother's Day around the world, just expecting a handful of dates. My God, was I wrong. Mother's Day is literally spread out across the year around the world. So, I mean, some of you have already had it. There's January and February dates here, and there are some as late as December. So I guess it doesn't really matter when you find this video, you're gonna have a few free patterns here that you can make beautiful flowers for your mum. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these patterns rolling, and I'll bring you in a little later when I know these patterns are actually working, because I've already started a few of them off. And I don't want to give you bad ones, I only want to give you good ones on here so you don't have to go searching. They are going to be on my board on Pinterest, so if you follow here, go to my Pinterest page, Barker-Stargazer, go to the board which says good free patterns, then look for these corresponding images and follow them to their site. So I will have the pattern up here as well as I am working, and hopefully it will be on that side of the screen. But as I said, I want to bring you in part way through, so like I know that the pattern is working. And also it's been a really long time since I've actually been following other patterns. I've been working on my own things for so long that you never know, it might be down to me. Maybe I've forgotten how to follow a pattern. Okay, pattern 1. Let's check the Pinterest board, and we are going to go for this one here. We are going to follow it to its website, and it looks like it's translated from Spanish. I mean, I didn't translate it, but there were like little flags at the top there, so I'm going to assume this person has took the time and the effort to also make sure there's an English translation here on the video. So we are going to watch out for any translation issues, but I'm not going to class a translation issue as a problem with the pattern. Okay, we have a blue Glissa flower pattern here by Maria Lalaga. A quick look down the pattern shows that we are going to be making 5 individual petals and 3 individual stamina to go in the center. There's very little construction details, so we'll figure that out at the end. So Stitch's descriptions are telling me we are US patterns, and here are the material lists as well. You can see that we are going to need some wire, and while she has specified a yarn weight and hook size, it also just depends on what we ourselves choose to use. Right, so each petal starts off with a chain 14. I do appreciate the photographs she's put with them, and I actually didn't find them necessary to help me decipher. I thought this was a really well put together pattern. Round 2 is working into the chain on both sides, so you start with your stitches on the normal side of your chain, you put a cluster of stitches, in this case 3, in the last chain, and turn to work down the back of the chain. Again, really clear how she's put all of these details in. Round 3 is when we start to incorporate the wire. It starts with a chain 1 and a turn. No, sorry, it didn't have a turn, it just had a single crochet and a chain to start working up the side of the petal. There are a few different stitches that get used here. Also pay attention to the increases, because some of the increases have 2 different stitches within them. So some of the increases are simply 2 single crochet or 2 double crochet, but some of them are, say, 1 double crochet and 1 half double. Just make sure when you're stitching around that you capture your wire as you go. It is something I've found with all of these flower patterns, is that the wire is one of your most essential material items, and it's just because you're not really going to get the structure of the petals with yarn that you would need without it. When you do reach the end of your petal, I would leave yourself more wire than you think you're going to need to secure it at the end. I did make a mistake early on making the wire a lot shorter on one of the petals. This proved to be really difficult for me when it came to putting them all together. And here we have just a little optional extra, which is on the pattern, just to put a single stitch on the petal to give it a little bit more detail. And I really do think it's worth doing. It does add something to them. I didn't feel the need to show the making of the stamens, as it's just a bit of yarn wrapped around wire and then the wire curled back in on itself. And actually, when I came to finishing off my flower, I ended up taking them out. Now, instructions for putting your flower together just say to twirl your wire parts together and then to wrap some yarn around it. So I've gathered my petals together, I've put a stick in between, I've made sure to wrap the wire around the stick to give it a bit more stability, and then I simply chose to wrap green yarn around this and down the stick. This would have been a lot easier if I knew where my glue gun is, but it's packed away ready for the house move. And here it is in its final glory. As you can see, I took the stamen out of the middle and just ran some white thread details in. All in all, this took me about an hour to construct, so this is definitely a good one if you wanted to make like a lot of flowers. I'm really happy with this one. Thank you to Maria. Okay, flower 2, we are going to go for this tulip, which happens to be my absolute favourite flower. As you can see here, I've already done part 1 of the pattern, which is basically the inside petals, and I'm now going to work on part 2, which is the outside of the petals. You don't have to leave Pinterest to get to see the entirety of this pattern, which is really good. Construction is left up to you as usual, but like I said, that's just what you'd expect from a free pattern. The pattern is very simple. You are working one piece and then going around the piece for round 2 and round 3. You are going to be working back into your center of what will be your flower when you slip stitch. Terms here are American terminology, and yeah, there isn't much more to say about this. It's very clear what you need to do. It tells you how many times you need to repeat each part. The only thing I'd say is if you're an absolute beginner, you may be a bit stumped just because you don't have that extra bit of tutorial. But if you need more tutorial in your patterns as a beginner, go buy yourself a really good quality beginner pattern or a crochet magazine, because they've got patterns in and help pages in them. When it came to construction of my tulip, I first started with my smaller petals. I decided just to run some slip stitches through them just to hold them together more neatly and how I felt it looked more aesthetically pleasing. I could have joined them completely up and put a bit of stuffing in them to give it a bit more bulk, but in the end I didn't feel that was needed. I stitched the outside petals to the inside ones again, just so I can have a nice tight shape the way I like a tulip to look. And when it came to the stem of the flower, I took one of my trusty wood dowels, stuck it up the butt of the flower and wrapped it in green yarn, and voila! Of course I would have preferred to secure it with a bit of glue, but once again it is in a box. And here is the finished tulip. This is a good one to make on bulk because this took like half an hour tops to crochet and put all together. It can use scrap yarn, and I am so tempted just to make a full bunch of them for my next stall, because I could easily sell one of these for £1, £1.50. Yeah, £1.50. Okay, on to the third and final flower pattern. This one nearly killed me, honestly. My hands were falling apart when I was done this. It took 2 full days to crochet it, and it is endless amounts of chain stitches, slip stitches, working in the front loops, then the back loops. I am so glad I chose to do this in my favourite hook, because if I had gone lower, I think I'd have to retire from crochet, because I think my fingers would have fallen off. So this pattern is extremely detailed for this daisy. It has loads more steps than you would actually think looking at the number of rounds, because you aren't simply doing one round once, you're working back over. So like if you do, so when you get to a petal, it first tells you to construct the basis of the petal, and then if I was writing the pattern I would do another round and then explain the next step of constructing the petal. However, this keeps it all in one place. The photographs are an absolute must when it comes to checking this pattern, and I would recommend the tutorial because there are some, I want to say, translation issues, just because the AI is in full effect, the AI voice of YouTube, it's in full effect on the tutorial video. I would watch the tutorial video all the way through, then I would make this flower. It came out absolutely huge in Aran weight. To have this as like as anything but a ginormous ornamental piece, you would have to do this in micro crochet, and like I say, your fingers would drop off. Oh god, it just took forever to do. But that's the thing with these flower patterns. If you want a detailed flower, it's gonna have a lot of component parts to it, and these parts are going to be extremely repetitive, and they are going to be little fiddly stitches. Now I have to admit, when it came to the end product, I wasn't 100% happy with it, but I feel a lot of that is down to the fact that I chose not to incorporate the wire on the first load of petals, and I was using scrap yarn instead of yarn that was fully dedicated to this project. This website does actually have quite a lot of other flower patterns in it, and I am going to go back and do more of them. So what I thought with my Pinterest page on the good patterns part of the board, what I'll do is I will comment on the patterns that I have tested, and if I haven't tested them yet, there'll be no comment on them, and if I don't think they're any good, I will simply delete them from the board. I am not going to badmouth anyone. I'm also going to put this one open to contributions from other people, so if you find a free pattern and want me to try it out, pop it on my board. Oh, also I have opened my Crochet AI board up for contributions as well, and this is where I pull my ideas from for my AI to reality videos. Despite the fact that this flower did take me days to do, there isn't much to say on it. It is simply chains, slip stitches, single crochet, double crochet, insert wire, repeat. It is that. Oh, it's all in American terminology, by the way. I have to admit, if it wasn't for the tutorial, I probably would have put this pattern down as a fail, but say with the tutorial there, you're able to see what needs to be done. So I did actually put that in the comment in Pinterest. I did say to watch the tutorial for it. And here it is. I didn't bother putting the stem on it. My kids keep saying it looks like some sort of sea monster, so you know what, let's put some eyes on it. Yep, that's something to haunt your nightmares. What I may do with this is I may take out the wire from the last couple of rounds of petals where I did choose to insert it, and I don't know, maybe I could turn it into a stool cushion or something, maybe. Oh, I don't know. It'll end up in the pile because I don't think I'll end up frogging it, because with all the slip stitches I could just see the yarn being so tangled. Alright guys, if you want to check out these patterns for yourself, head over to my Pinterest page, and you can also check out my other socials as well. I do intend to do more reviews on these free patterns, but they might just end up on shorts. So keep an eye on TikTok, but I do put the shorts here as well. Happy Mother's Day if your Mother's Day is coming up. And I will see you guys next week for something blocky. Bye YouTube!